Take note of the answer given by the Leader of the Government representing the Prime Minister to my question about whether we're in a climate emergency and this government's going to do anything at all about it. Didn't really get an answer to the actual very clear specific questions that I did ask. Certainly got a lot of government talking points and a lot of the usual waffle, which I want to take the chance to dissect. I first asked whether, given the absolutely devastating, tragic summer that we've just had, whether the government now accepts that we are in a climate-driven emergency, a climate emergency. The science says that, the experts say that, the community knows that. The last people to get the memo is this government. So what I deduced from the series of words that came out at rapid rate was essentially no, but you could have just said that. Anyway, we didn't get a clear answer, but I think it's very evident from the government's approach that they don't think we're in a climate emergency because it doesn't suit their corporate donors to actually abide by the science. The next question that I asked was about whether the government accepted the link between burning our coal and the severity of these fires. Now again, all of the commentators, all of the experts, the folk who know this stuff are saying there is a clear and obvious link. But oh no, we didn't get a clear answer on that one either. And apparently this is a global problem, so it's not really a big deal for Australia. We don't actually have to pull our weight globally. We're just a tiny contributor. What a convenient rhetorical device. Do you hear them say that about our sporting aspirations? Do you hear them saying that about our contribution to any other global effort? I don't know whether it's signing up to America to send troops to invade somewhere. No. It's a very selective Australia, we can't do anything, we're just small. Again, it doesn't fly. The last question I asked was whether or not the government accepted that its policies had us on track for more than 3 degrees of warming, which would inevitably result in more than 3 times the devastation that we are already suffering. Because the science tells us we've already had 1 degree of warming. If we're on track for more than 3 degrees, we're on track for at least 3 times as much devastation. But no, neither science nor logic will penetrate this government's rhetorical shudders. What they do accept, though, is money from the polluters. And we saw that donations data released on Monday. And what do you know? In an election year, $1 million from big coal, big oil and big gas donated to the political parties that sit on those two sides of the benches. And the government took almost $250,000 from Adani. And you know what? They made a donation 4 days before they ticked off on the groundwater management plan for Adani, and they made another little donation, maybe it was a thank you donation, after that approval was issued. The facts speak for themselves. Our democracy's been sold to the highest bidder, and that bidder are the fossil fuels that are turbocharging these fires and wreaking such havoc on our community. One of the other excuses that was trotted out on behalf of the Prime Minister was that if Australia didn't export the coal, somebody else would, and we're actually doing the world a favour. We're helping the environment by exporting our coal. What an absolute load of nonsense. I'm surprised the Minister could actually say that with a straight face. It's the classic drug dealer's defence. We all know that what would happen if Australia reduced and ultimately phased out its coal exports and its coal usage while supporting those communities to transition into well-paid, decent jobs in industries that have got a long-term future. If we actually took that step, the coal price would be impacted. Other countries would then see even more how affordable and reliable renewable energy is. That trend is already happening. Boris Johnson, for heaven's sake, just made a climate announcement earlier today. Now, if that person can see the global writing on the wall, why can this government not? What a great opportunity for our Prime Minister to have somebody else lead the way yet again and for him to then fall in line and finally take some action on the climate. But don't hold your breath, folks. So here we are in question time again, asking about the climate emergency. We've got hundreds of people camped out of Parliament this week, begging this government for action on the climate emergency, begging this government to show some leadership and to step up and protect our shared future, to protect nature, to protect people. but money talks in this place. So we had a question, we got no answers. We hope to finally see some action from this government, and if we don't, they just need to get out of the way.